He did not seize power in a single moment. He inherited chaos, and then, slowly, almost invisibly, he turned a collapsing republic into an empire that would last for centuries. Augustus did not rule through fear alone. He ruled through perception, and that made him far more dangerous. Augustus was born in 63 BC. As Gaius Octavius, he was not the strongest, not the most experienced, not even the obvious successor to power. What he had instead was proximity. He was the adopted heir of Julius Caesar. And when Caesar was assassinated, power did not disappear. It fractured. Rome was unstable. Not just politically, psychologically. The Republic had lost its center. And when systems lose their center, they do something predictable. They search for structure. Octavian understood this early, but unlike others, he did not rush to dominate. He observed, waited, positioned himself carefully within the chaos. He was young, only 18, when Caesar died, but he moved with precision that did not match his age. He aligned himself publicly with Caesar's legacy, not aggressively, but consistently. He built legitimacy, not through force, but through association. This is the foundation of his psychology. Augustus did not chase power directly. He built the conditions that made power inevitable. He formed an alliance with Mark Antony and Lepidus, the second triumvirate. But because he needed time to consolidate, time to learn, time to weaken them indirectly. Together, they defeated Caesar's assassins. But unity did not last. It never does when power is shared unequally. Octavian began reshaping perception. Quietly, Antony became associated with the East, with Cleopatra, with excess. Octavian remained in Rome. With tradition, with order, with control. This was not accidental. It was strategy. He understood that power in Rome was not only about military strength, it was about narrative. And narrative determines legitimacy. When conflict with Antony became inevitable, Octavian was ready. The Battle of Actium in 31 BC was decisive. Antony and Cleopatra were defeated, and for the first time, there was no one left to balance him. This is the turning point, where most leaders reveal themselves. They expand openly, declare authority, dominate visibly. Augustus did the opposite. He reduced visibility. He presented himself not as a ruler, but as a restorer. He claimed to return power to the Senate, to preserve the Republic. But in reality, he restructured it. Carefully, subtly. He kept control of the military, control of provinces, control of decision-making, but avoided titles that triggered resistance. He did not call himself king. He became Princeps' first citizen. This is psychological control at its highest level, because he removed the need for opposition. He did not threaten the system, he absorbed it. Over time, this created stability. Rome transitioned from chaos to order, from civil war to controlled expansion. The empire began to take shape, and Augustus stood at its center, but not visibly, not aggressively, quietly, constantly. At his peak, Augustus held more power than any Roman before him. But his behavior did not reflect dominance. It reflected discipline. He limited displays of excess, maintained the image of moderation, created the illusion of shared governance. This illusion was not weakness. It was strategy, because people resist power. They can see, but they accept power. That feels natural. And Augustus made his authority feel inevitable. Over time, this changed his environment. Opposition did not disappear. It became unnecessary. There was no clear point of resistance, no single moment to challenge him, because the system itself had adapted. This is where we see the deeper psychological shift. Augustus no longer needed to assert control. He had created a structure that sustained it. And when control becomes structural, it becomes permanent. But permanence carries a cost. Augustus became increasingly focused on continuity, not expansion. not transformation, preservation. He understood something critical, that power is not secured at its peak. It is secured in succession. He spent years shaping his legacy, selecting heirs, managing transitions, controlling how the future would unfold. This level of foresight is rare, but it also reveals a subtle limitation. When leaders focus too heavily on preserving systems, they reduce adaptability. Augustus built stability, but also rigidity. His system depended on careful balance between authority and appearance, between control and illusion, and maintaining that balance required constant management. This is the paradox. He created one of the most stable political systems in history, but one that required leaders like him to sustain it. After Augustus, the system continued, but the individuals within it changed. Some preserved the balance, others did not. And when the illusion breaks, the structure becomes visible. And visible power invites resistance. This is the broader historical pattern. Leaders who master perception often outlast those who rely on force. But they also create systems that are difficult to evolve, because their strength lies in control, not flexibility. Psychologically, Augustus represents a different kind of transformation. He did not become more extreme. He became more precise, more controlled, more disciplined. Power did not amplify chaos in him. It refined restraint. But restraint, over time, becomes identity. And identity resists change. He was no longer reacting to events. He was shaping them in advance. And when you control outcomes consistently, you begin to trust your model completely. This reduces doubt. And doubt is essential for adaptation. Augustus did not collapse. He did not fall. He died in power, which makes his case more complex. Because success can hide limitations. The system worked, but only under specific conditions, only under specific leadership. And this is the final insight. Augustus proved that power does not need to be visible to be absolute. It only needs to be structured correctly. But structure is not neutral. It reflects the psychology of its creator. And when that creator is no longer there, the system must evolve, or slowly begin to fracture. Augustus controlled Rome. But more importantly, he controlled how Rome understood power itself. And that is a level of influence far deeper than rule. Because once perception changes, reality follows. And that is how empires truly begin.